Member for Saanich Gulf Islands.
Mr. Speaker, it's World Environment Day, and I'm so honored that in Ottawa, visiting this next few days, are British Columbians who work night and day to protect our southern resident killer whale population.
Everyone has an opinion about Canadian federal politics.
Oh, yeah.
There is no list of MPs who have shown disloyalty to Canada. I am vastly relieved. That person, former MP, whose name is not included in the report, should be fully investigated and prosecuted. There were no references specifically to the Senate, but of members of Parliament named, fewer than a handful, and no one in that fewer than a handful could be described as setting out to knowingly betray Canada in favor of a foreign government.
Hey gang, what's up? Just Aaron right here, Question Period Canada. We recognize Elizabeth May from the introduction there. She's the leader of the Green Party, has been since 2006, first elected in 2011, the first elected Green Party member, and the longest serving female leader of any party in Canadian federal history. So she's an interesting person. She spent time in Nova Scotia. I like that. She got a couple of degrees from here, Dalhousie and St. FX. She is a lawyer, and this is her interpretation of the report. And she's saying that there are no current MPs, there's no list of MPs that have given in to foreign affairs, that have been corrupted, and I don't know. We're gonna have to say, she says so many times in this piece that it's an interpretation. So I don't think that her words are going to hold tight. I don't know. I kind of like Elizabeth May, but I do not trust a politician. I know this. Anyways, let's take a look at how she breaks down this report. Are we affected by foreign interference? We're going to find out what Elizabeth May thinks about the whole thing. Let's check out the Green Party leader. Let's go.
Well, I mean, and I was asked, it was JP Tasker asked me on air, is this treason? I said, well, this looks like to me, if somebody sells out their country's interests to a foreign government, that's kind of textbook definition of treason.
Right.
I was feeling, well, outraged, awful. There's all kinds of words one would use. And I was asked a million different ways by different reporters, how does it feel to sit in that parliament and not know which of your colleagues might have betrayed their country? So thankfully, thanks to the work of the former rapporteur, David Johnson, I was able to obtain top secret security clearance last summer. So I was in a position to arrange to read the full. I didn't just receive a briefing. I read the full unredacted report. And I kept thinking, when am I going to come to this list of MPs who are compromised? There is no list of MPs. Yes, but none of them. And again, this is really important. Yes, reading the whole report, and you're right, they're in separate instances, separate boxes, different case studies, differently referenced.
Right.
But it was a relief to find, not only was there not a list, you couldn't put together a list. In fact, you couldn't find a single name of a single member of Parliament currently serving who had significant intelligence or any suggestion in the unredacted report that they had put the interests of a foreign government ahead of Canada's. On page 26 of the publicly available report,
Right.
that should be investigated, and I believe that individual, unnamed, should be prosecuted from what's in the unredacted report. Protecting our intelligence assets around the world that helped inform CSIS and other operatives in writing the information that the committee digested. Let this be very clear. I was very alarmed about the possibility that I was serving with colleagues, members of Parliament, who would put the interests of foreign governments ahead of Canada's. It's very clear that the efforts of foreign governments to influence Canadian society, Canadian politics in many ways, shape, and form is aggressive, and there's many strategies and tactics, and we have to much better protect our democratic institutions than current rules. And one place that I've pointed to is that our oath of allegiance to Canada when we swear our allegiance when we're sworn in as MPs does not really come with consequences or much guidance, and I think we should work on that. And I think all the recommendations of the National Security and Intelligence Committee of Parliamentarians should be fully implemented. There are places that I'm not sanguine about this, David. I'm just saying I'm not serving with a bunch of people whose names are in some report that people can't get at. And I think it's important for Canadians to know that the people with whom I serve have not, in terms of the unredacted report, there isn't information that suggests any currently sitting member of Parliament is deliberately putting the interests of a foreign state above that of Canada. Okay. I hate to, I was really focused on my colleagues and the House of Commons. So as I read the report, nothing struck me to be concerned about the Senate, but I have to be clear, I wasn't reading to look to see am I concerned about the Senate. Make sure as I answer your question, David, that I'm not betraying any confidences in reading, in how I read, in the information I gleaned from the report. I have to respect that some of what was in there, even if I say it wasn't in there, am I betraying a confidence under the top secret security clearance that I have? So I have to just say, I can only say how I felt, and how I felt was relieved.
Okay.
I would not think that is the case as much as my sense of journalists, maybe documentary makers, people who receive foreign support to produce something that looks like an objective documentary, but which has, in a clandestine way, and that's a key aspect here, if it's sponsored content and it's not shared with the viewer, this was a paid-for product of a government somewhere that wants to look good to Canadians, then that's really concerning. But our mainstream media, again, just speaking for myself, I'm not concerned that it is subject to foreign influence. Well, again, anyone reading this report is aware of the fact that revealing certain bits of information in here, and potentially even a lot of the information in here, could actually compromise Canadian intelligence assets and actually cause them a physical risk of physical harm. So what is a prime minister to do? I would like to think that we as elected people in the House of Commons, especially as Jagmeet Singh reads the report, maybe he'll disagree and he'll have different conclusions from me. That's fair. We need to talk about it. I think we need to take responsibility for this as parliamentarians and not trying to kick it to someone else, which is why I voted against the motion today to add this to the mandate of Madam Justice Hogue. I think as MPs, we need to be sure that we take actions that are required to buttress our democracy. And by the way, if governments are interested in undermining Canadian democracy, nothing much better than having us all fighting with each other and trying to find a treasonous MP under every desk. No, let's just be calm. What do we know? What do we not know? And if what we know when we read the full unredacted report, if the other leaders feel as I do, okay, now we know what we know. There are some folks who seem to be too cozy with foreign interests. They may have allowed themselves to be compromised by accepting favors unwittingly. That's what's already been out there. What steps do we take? And I do think that some of what we find out here in the unredacted, rather in the redacted version, the publicly available version, suggests that the Prime Minister, I think, should have taken action earlier based on the advice he was receiving from CSIS or from the National Security Intelligence Committee. But this particular report and how long he's had it in his hands and taking action on it, this particular report is hard to take action on because so much of it remains secret and classified. Examples, and I've mentioned this, of nomination contests, that's what we're talking about. Are we talking about any evidence that Han Dong deliberately tried to get secrets from the government of Canada and feed them to Chinese operatives? No.
But foreign capture,
but
owing something to the Chinese.
That is, without doubt, already in the public domain. Now the question is, he's not sitting as a member of the Liberal caucus. What are the remedies? Canadians may be interested to know the only way to remove a sitting member of Parliament is a vote of all parliamentarians. It can happen on a simple motion by one MP, and we all vote. And if the majority of MPs say, this member of Parliament is no longer a member of Parliament, they're gone.
Right.
Since 1983 till now, we've done nothing about foreign interference in leadership races. We have improved election laws. People running in leadership races have to declare who donated to their campaign that sort of thing. But I am concerned, but there's very little information.
Okay.
And I think we need to keep asking questions about leadership races and how, I mean, attempts at foreign interference aren't successful foreign interference. And we have to be careful before we throw mud at what can be a damaging reputational hit until we have more facts. And I think if we sat down together as MPs and tried to sort this out, we'd be better prepared to protect our democracy.
So gang, what do we have? Another scandal on our hands? Liz May is saying that there is no scandal, that there's one former MP that should be, investigated. I don't know about that. I've read some articles and I've seen some other videos saying there's a lot more MPs and current ones at that, members of cabinet. Well, they behave like they're compromised, right? Seems that way to me. My name's Aaron. This is Question Period Canada. We'll be back with more videos anytime. Like, subscribe, share, get notified. Canadian federal politics. Learning all about it, sharing that with you. That's the idea. We do a live show. Come and check that out. It's a fun chat room, great community. Besides that, just check out another video. We've got one floating around. And there are committee videos. We do a lot of those. Those are super interesting. Check one out. Like, subscribe, share, get notified, comment. My name's Aaron. All those fun things. I do love the comments. Catch you next video. Thanks a lot for watching.